There's a story that the reason Square chose the title Final Fantasy for their RPG was that because the company was in such dire financial straits, it had to be a hit or it would be their final game. This is not true. Oh, Square was in serious financial trouble. A long series of flops, and their attempt to run a low-cost publishing outfit for the Famicom Disk System was just a disaster. But the game that saved the company wasn't Final Fantasy. It was Highway Star. And it didn't just save the company because it was a massive hit. Highway Star was also the trial run for a new programmer they hired. An Iranian-American who didn't even speak Japanese. That was Nasir Jabeli, and he is one of the most important programmers of the 80s. We haven't seen a racing game like this on the Famicom since Mach Rider back in 1985, but similar to several other games we're seeing in the middle of 1987, Highway Star opens up that genre. This style of racing game never becomes ubiquitous on the Famicom, but we will be seeing quite a few of them, especially with F1 themes. You do get the option at the start of the game of picking between a Ferrari 328 and an F1 racer, but there's no difference between their performance. The manual identifies all the vehicles on the road as real-world car models, and I'm fairly confident that they didn't get the license for them. Highway Star is heavily, and I do mean heavily, based on the arcade game Outrun. And this is actually quite a coup, since Outrun was a pretty new game at that time. Like the game it's mimicking, Highway Star is a checkpoint race, where your goal is to complete each segment before time runs out, and when you cross those checkpoints, you get more time. The way that the track goes up and down hills also strongly reflects Outrun. You can even change the radio to 3 different tunes by pressing down on the control pad. There are 3 major differences between Outrun and Highway Star. First, no branching paths. Every course is a straight run, then you move on to the next track. Second, you have a turbo in Highway Star. When your speed is over 100 kilometers per hour, press up on the control pad to go even faster. You'll need to use the turbo to reach top speed. Third, and most importantly, when time runs out, it's not game over. In Highway Star, your engine cuts out, and you start coasting down. And if you coast across the checkpoint, you get your time refilled, and you get to keep going. The traffic that you're racing through is randomly generated in Highway Star, and that can be a little bit of a problem. You will run into situations where 3 cars are completely blocking the road. They can also be a bit aggressive, moving to block you off as you race. Bumping into another car will send your car sliding, and it's not difficult to go flying off the track as a result. If you do go off the track and run into an obstacle on the side, the car will flip for a bit, and you lose time as it recenters on the road. Flipping near the end of a course can be a disaster, since you may not have enough time to build up speed again. The other thing to mention about Highway Star is the 3D. And that brings me to one of the prides of my Famicom collection, a new, in-box, never-before-used Famicom 3D system. It's a pair of goggles with shutter lenses that will flicker 30 times a second. Each one covers one eye, and the screen changes what it's displaying for each frame. Okay, let's break out this 35-year-old piece of hardware, peel the plastic off the glasses, and give it a try. A quick aside here to answer the obvious question. The Famicom 3D system was not a popular accessory, and as a result, new in-box units are not difficult to get. Mine was $70 including shipping from Japan. And I overpaid because I bought it off of Amazon. If I had been able to get into some retro stores, I probably could have gotten it cheaper. So I'm not ruining a rare and precious artifact by opening the package. Besides, the box wasn't even sealed. I hit select to change the visual mode, and yeah, I can see a 3D effect. It's not a particularly strong one, and it might work a bit better if I was playing in a dark room. We'll have a chance to try it out on a few more games before we're done. Highway Star was a pretty big hit in Japan, and that's why Nintendo took it on themselves to publish it in the US as Rad Racer, changing the title away from something that would be trademark infringement. It was an enormous hit for Nintendo, too, and they wound up making their own sequel that was never released in Japan, and including Rad Racer as part of the Nintendo World Championship. I have one complaint about Highway Star, and that's how the visuals of the course don't reflect how sharp the turns actually are. It feels like there's really only two positions for a curve, and so something might look like a gentle turn as you approach it, and then you go flying off the track when you hit the curve. There's not much you can do about that except memorize the course. Overall, Highway Star is the best Famicom racing game so far, and it's still a lot of fun to play. There's 8 courses in all, and you'll have to be pretty good to reach the end of those. But even if you're not, you can still have a lot of fun with the game.